Hello, welcome to The Conversation on News Central Television. This is a program where we bring you up to speed with all the political happenings on the African continent. I am Gbenga Aborowa.
And I am Rita Omodia. Today on the program, we begin the conversation in Nigeria, where the Labour Party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has finally released his campaign manifesto after much anticipation from both his supporters and fellow contenders, detailing his priorities for the country as well as citizens if elected president in 2023.
And in Kenya, we'll be looking at the latest in the petition involving 4 commissioners of the Independent Electoral Commission and boundaries in Kenya who refused to endorse the victory of President William Ruto in August presidential election. Now, all 4 electoral officials have been suspended by the president, and the IEBC vice chairperson, Juliana Cherera, has gone ahead to tender her resignation. Interesting developments there in Kenya, Rita. The Juliana Cherera, this group, they're known as the Cherera 4. 2 of them, another member of the group, resigned on Friday. So the big question is, will this tribunal go ahead with its investigation since they've resigned, and what are the implications of this resignation?
Definitely, that's the big question. I think for me, it's even their resilience. I mean, during the elections, we saw Julian also come outside and contest the presidential election results. She's still firm on her words that the election results were quite rather disputed the presidential election results. So he says a whole lot, and I don't know what's going to happen. You suspended 4 of the IEBC chairpersons. Will the tribunal go ahead, just as you asked? How will people take it? We see Raila Odinga also coming out and asking the people to defend the people and say, are you okay with the fact that this IEBC chairpersons will be suspended by the president?
Interesting developments, and I can't wait for us to get to that one. But we begin in Nigeria, where Nigeria's Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has finally released his much-anticipated campaign manifesto ahead of the country's forthcoming 2023 elections. The long-awaited 72-page campaign manifesto titled Our Pact with Nigerians, Creating a New Nigeria, unveiled Obi's proposed plans to lead Nigeria if elected president.
Announcing the release of the manifesto on his verified Twitter page on Sunday morning, Obi said the document lays out the Labour Party's mission, focus, and mandate for securing, uniting, and making Nigeria productive. In the manifesto, the former Anambra governor listed 7 priorities his administration would concentrate on if elected president in 2023, which included ending insurgency and moving Nigeria from a consumption economy to a production-centered economy. Now, to discuss more on this, we have the spokesperson of the Third Force Coalition for Labour Party, Tanko Yunusa. Thank you so much for joining us on the conversation.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, finally, we see the manifesto of the Labour Party, but it's barely 3 months to the general elections. Earlier in October, we saw another manifesto, which your party, Labour Party, denied as not the manifesto of Peter Obi. So, for some people, they're still wondering, why did it take so long for Peter Obi to release his manifesto?
Well, I don't think it really took too long. You will attest to the fact that the first person to actually build his campaign on issue base is Peter Obi, because he actually started the mantra of consumption to production. And that has resonated with the Nigerian people so well. And he went ahead to ensure that at every point in time he has, he will always elucidate and amplify on those particular mantra. Remember when he traveled out of the country to synergize with some of our brothers and sisters in diaspora, he actually read out this particular document. And lastly, about 2 weeks ago, he mentioned this particular summary of this particular 7-point agenda at the business school meeting he had in Lagos. So for us, it's just for us to ceremoniously, more or less, unveil the document, which he just did through his Twitter handle. So it is not actually a document that's been deleted. It is actually a document that's already in the air for a very long time. So even if you sit back in your house now, Google it back, you will see this particular 7-point agenda that he has been talking about for so very long. So it is just like saying that now we have now opened it up and making it for public view.
Okay, Mr. Yunusa, looking at the timing of the release of this manifesto, It coincides with a statement released by the People's Democratic Party's campaign spokesperson in the person of Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Festus Keyamo. He did say of the APC. Yes, he did say that, you know, if the Labour Party does not release its manifesto, there will be no presidential debate, that their candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will not attend the debate. He also listed other conditions. So is this manifesto coming out at this time in response to Mr. Kiyamo's protestations or demands?
If you have been following the trail of the discussion, you will have realized that actually it was Festus Keyamo who, I know it was not him, it was his principal, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who actually said he would be shameful for him to associate himself or call Peter Obi's name. So I now responded. If you go through the Independent newspaper, it was me who responded by saying that I put up a challenge to them when they are doubting the statistic that the principal is rolling out. And I said I challenge them for a debate. I challenge them to come out for a debate and bring their principal out and let our principal stand to the Nigerian people and they should debate. So it was in response to that that they now look for a short corner to say that we have not come out with our manifesto until when we do that. We are the first to bring out the manifesto. And I still maintain my challenge. If they have a capacity that they can bring out their candidate, let them bring him out to face Peter Obi intellectually, capacity-wise, consistency-wise, and targetness-wise. I think at this moment, Peter Obi is 100% better. So if they doubt my challenge, they should bring Bola Ahmed Tinubu vis-a-vis the position of Peter Obi. It was this particular discussion that comes out. They were only looking for an escape route because they know that their candidate does not have the capacity to go one-on-one on a debate with our candidate. So that was how it was. So it wasn't them. It was we who already challenged them, and they didn't have an answer to our challenge. Rather, to look for an escape route and saying that they want a manifesto. And the manifesto has already been out long even before now.
Okay, I'm going to go a bit deeper into the manifesto. Now, around the town, there's been talks of restructuring, and your manifesto, the Labour Party manifesto of Peter Obi, also highlights restructuring the polity through effective legal and institutional reforms. Now, when we look at restructuring, we're looking at different forms of restructuring. The police sector, there are a lot of institutions that a lot of people have been talking about restructuring, even the Constitution. So what level of restructuring is the Labour Party actually looking at?
Okay, he said there are going to be an effective legal and institutional reform on rule of law, corruption, and government effectiveness. Now, it is already established that a lot of people have been agitating for restructuring around this country, and it can only be done legally. That means through the instrumentality of the National Assembly, and discussion will be made where there will be need for us to look at our constitution and see how we can get a constitution that is acceptable to all Nigerians. And institutionally, you will also agree with me, there are so very much number of institutions that are duplicated. For example, Federal Road Safety Commission, VIO, the Nigerian police, all of these people are working towards a particular same goal. That to find, in order to cut costs, there's a way in which we need to collapse them together. And there are so many institutions in that regard that need to be collapsed together so that we can get the best out of them. This will help to reduce costs, but also it will create employment because there will be more people that will put into these particular offices so that they can function effectively well. The issue is that we want people that can work together, that can produce the best for us. And then we also look at the issue of oil theft. Oil theft. You remember that it was actually our principal who came and raised the alarm on the issue of oil theft, that the hands of government is in this particular oil theft. So in part of the issue of restructuring, they will look at the issue of modular refinery that will ensure that people are doing legitimate work, who earn legitimate earnings. That is one of the key areas. With regard to local government reform, you're going to look at the issue of how to effectively make the local government work, because it has been established that the local government has been left in fallow and they are not working for the people. That gave room for the level of insecurity that we are having across the nation. So there's very many more issues that we want, because we want a solid institution that can stand the test of time, that at any point in time, this institution can stand on their own and deal with issues. Not that one of the institutions that you will have, that when somebody put up a call, if somebody is found to have criminally indulged himself, and then the call will just quash it and then they will seal it under the carpet. The rule of law will reign supreme in this particular government. So therefore, Nigerians will be having an effective government that they see outside other countries that they so much love. We can have it here in Nigeria.
Now, Tanko, having looked through the manifesto of the Labour Party, I must say there are quite laudable things and plans the Labour Party has to move Nigeria forward. But however, in case your principal, Mr. Peter Obi, emerges as president of Nigeria, he wouldn't have majority in the National Assembly. There will be very few members of the Labour Party in the National Assembly. So how does he and the party plan to push through legislation to bring about this beautiful things they've written in the manifesto to fruition if you don't have the numbers in the National Assembly to pass through legislation?
Okay, remember that Peter Obi had similar situation when he was a governor in Anambra State. But this is a simple thing. If you go through the 7-point agenda, i.e., production centers going from food security and export, securing and uniting Nigeria, effective legal and institutional reform of law and order, corruption and government effectiveness, leapfrogging Nigeria from oil to fourth industrial revolution, expanding political infrastructure through market diversional reform, and unleashing growth to enable enterprises and make great innovation, human capital development that empower competitiveness and employment, report foreign policy that will readdress Nigerian strategic and relevance. Now, the question is, these are contemporary issues. These are issues that are behaving in Nigeria at the moment. We didn't come up with something that we say is futurology. We're dealing with the issues right now. While we support the idea of making sure that we win election down the line, all of our contestants to be voted for, it is also imperative to understand that there's challenges that other people too will be voted for. But the question is, would anybody who is in the right sense of mind would challenge the issue of central growth economy that Peter Obi is rolling out? Would anybody in his right sense of mind challenge the issue of security out of the people? Would anybody in his effective mind challenge anybody challenging the fucking of Nigeria from oil to industrial revolution?
Okay,
I think we seem to be having some connection issues. Our technical team will work on it, and let's hope we're able to reestablish contact with Mr. Tanko Yunusa very soon. Interesting developments. You know, the manifesto is just promises. It's they say the.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. Please go on.
Yes. I'm so sorry. I'm speaking with you from Owerri, where we are preparing. Said, if anybody bipartisanly who is interested in rescuing Nigeria will not support this 7-point agenda, except, of course, if that particular person is anti-Nigeria. And the moment we are assured that it's an anti-Nigerian person, that person, of course, will be called back to his own constituency by his people.
Okay, Tanko, sorry to cut in there. While you talk about the manifesto, now for the other parties, major parties, we have the APC and the PDP, and they also mentioned issues of security and economy, which Peter Obi has also highlighted. So for the essence of the viewers, what makes Peter Obi so different? I mean, we've had series of manifestos. The APC came with the mantra of change. A lot of people come with so much promises. What makes Peter Obi so different with this manifesto?
Okay, it's simple. Because just about last week, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics declared that 130 million Nigerians are in abject poverty out of 200 million. So we said, please, these 130 million come together with me, let us form a government. That is different. It is a government that is owned by the people, which is a simple definition of democracy for the people. That he is trying to give to the Nigerian people. He said that don't vote for me because I'm a Christian. don't vote for me because I'm a Muslim, but vote for me because I believe in Nigeria, and the Nigerian people have not gotten enough leadership that they deserve. And so he's motivated with the fact that Nigerians need a good leader, and he believes he can be able to deliver that particular good leadership to the Nigerian people. And that is why his plan for security is simple. He's even going to go down the line for what we call community policing, from the local government, from the state government, federal government, including community policing. This is just to enhance closed-circuit policing. But the most important thing about this particular manifesto is not about the security apparatus. It is about the people themselves. How do you economically entrench them? How do you put them in the right place? How do you make sure that they are comfortable and they are economically secured? It is only when somebody has been able to be secured economically, he will be the first security officer of his own company or his own house. That is how it is. And Peter Obi is saying that we want to change Nigeria from docility to activeness, from insecure country to a secure country, from a consumption nation to a production nation, from the level of decay and lack of an insult that is being leveled on Nigerian people internationally to a well-respected individual whenever you go out with your green passport. So these are things that are disturbing Nigeria as we know at the moment. And Peter Obi to say this is a different way in which I intend to do it.
Okay, Tanko, now the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Dr. Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, has accused the All Progressive Congress of peddling disinformation against the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi. What about such insinuations, and how do we ensure that we have issue-based campaigns and not mudslingings? How do we raise the quality of the discussion and the debate that we're having as we approach the 2023 general elections?
Well, you remember that from the beginning, when we started, they said we do not have people that were only on Twitter and in the Facebook, on social media.
Said no structure.
That was the accusation. Hello?
Yes, they said the Labour Party had no structure.
Exactly. We were only on the social media. Then our people started coming out to go and register. They started attacking them. In Lagos, they attacked them. They gagged them. And then they continue. When to collect the BBC, they started kicking at them. They destroyed our billboard. They arrested our candidate in Ebonyi and kept him in Kula for about 43 days. They went ahead to ensure that any space in the Twitter, they keep on attacking our candidate. Then the crescendo was when they murdered and assassinated our Labour Party ruling leader in Gaura in Kaduna State.
What facts do you have to prove this, Tanko? Because you're making allegations there.
No, I'm not making allegations. I'm speaking to the fact that it's already in the public domain. These are no more allegations. When you go through your document, you are in Lagos. Go through Alaba Market, and ask our people there the kind of intimidation they suffered. Go to Ebonyi State. You can Google it right where you are.
No, Chief, I believe my colleague is referring to the murder of the women leader in Kaduna State. Could you kind of, insinuated that the opposition might be responsible for that?
No, I didn't accuse any particular person. I said it's a political assassination. We are waiting for the Nigerian police to come out with the contradictory information. If there is any other contribution, we know.
Thanks for clearing the air on that.
Solve that for us.
Okay.
Hello?
Go ahead,
please.
The woman has been solved for us in her campaign for Peter Obi. Her campaign is so popular that everybody has seen it. And she said, Peter Obi will save us, Nigeria. Peter Obi will save us in Nigeria. You can see the passion in which, because a lot of killing is happening in southern part of Kaduna. A lot of killing is happening in Zamfara. A lot of killing is happening in Kaduna State. You cannot move from Kaduna to Abuja without prayers. You cannot move in Beningwari in Kaduna where the APC is governance. So you can see the level of insecurity and the passion in which she was praying for Peter Obi to come on board. So we believe that in order to shut her up, she was assassinated. But then the mistake that they are making is that any moment they attack us, they are making us popular. Peter Obi will become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by the grace of God on February 2023. That is the decision of the Nigerian people, especially the Nigerian youth.
Definitely. And of course, we're waiting for the Nigerian people to decide who will become their leader. Now, still on this manifesto, of course, and the candidacy of Peter Obi. Now, we're seeing that the Northern Leaders Consultative Forum has publicly declared support for the People's Democratic Party candidate in the person of Atiku Abubakar. Now, there are some calls that sometimes that the votes are being shared between, Peter Obi was the former candidate of the PDP. And there are calls and saying that the votes has been shared between the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party. Are you threatened by this support going to the presidential candidate of the PDP?
Not at all, because if you have watched our pre-campaign rally that took place in Jos, the North Central or Middle Belt Forum publicly declared, and the rally was filled to the brim. Right from the airport, Peter Obi was welcomed by the North Central people. Majority of them are Christian, majority of them are different tribes, and they gave their honorary or comical support to Peter Obi, and that for me is the purpose mandate. What you saw at the Aradua Center was a charade organized by a paid agent to come and endorse Atiku Abubakar as against it. I challenge them to go and do a normal statistics and questionnaire in the streets of Gombe, in the streets of Bauchi, in the streets of Kaduna, in the streets of Kaduna, and they should meet each and every different tribe, and they will tell you 100% that their candidate is Peter Obi. But let me make this clear. This election for us is not about religion. It's not about tribe. It's not about sentiment. It's about competency, character, commitment, and doggedness with a level of transparency. You saw what Peter Obi did in Anambra. It is there on record, and none of them can challenge it. After spending money to build structures and building infrastructure, companies and all, investment just for the people, educational support for his people, security for his people, he still left that particular corpus with 75 billion naira. They couldn't deny it. And in fact, some of them came out to say the former governor, Obiano, confirmed that the money that Peter Obi left in his coffers was the one he used in building the state, in building the international airport in Anambra in Oka. So you can see, truth has no hiding place. It's like a steel. When you hit it, it bounces back at you. That is the stuff in which Peter Obi is made of.
Now, Tanko, finally, before we let you go, looking at the current socio-economic situation in the country has led so many young Nigerians to seek greener pastures abroad. Nigerians in the medical, IT, and different fields. It's a brain drain for Nigeria and a brain gain for those countries where they're checking out to. How does the Labour Party intend to reverse this trend and, make Nigeria more livable for young people?
2 months ago, Peter Obi actually traveled to the United States of America, Europe, and he connected with the Nigerian people. These are technocrats, these are students, these are family who actually believed in him. And then he made them to know that he's working so hard to ensure that all of them come back home. And there was a marvelous response of affirmation that we will come back home and support you. As we speak, majority of them are doing everything that they can to make sure that Peter Obi becomes the president. And then he has said it, don't vote for me and leave me so that you think I can be the only one that will actually govern this country. No. When you vote me into power, come with me. Let's work together. Bring all your know-how. I can assure you something, and you can attest to it, that since Peter Obi come up as a candidate of the Labour Party, the kind of uprising and confusion that we usually see abroad has stopped because he has connected with them and they find favor in him. The Nigerian youth also have decided that this is their candidate, and you see how they unite in unison to support this candidature of Peter Obi. So, for us, it's going to be not a brain drain that will mean, it's going to be come back home of our best. Our best will come back home to work for the benefit of this country. This is a statement of fact.
All right. Thank you so much, Tanko Yunusa. And all I would say is may the best man win. And of course, let the voice of the people be upheld. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.
Thank you.
I do appreciate you. Nobody should circumvent the will of the people or trample upon the position of the law and order, because we are aware that they are trying to muzzle INEC in trying to make sure that INEC does not use the beavers or the inscription on the beavers. That will not happen. The Nigerian people will reject it in full position, especially the Nigerian youth. We must take our country back. And Peter Obi is the driver, and Dati Baba Ahmed is supporting me as an assistant driver. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you for your time. Thank you so much. And of course, elections in Nigeria are barely 3 months away. 2023 elections, general elections, presidential and parliamentary elections coming up in Nigeria. We hope for the best man to win. Right now, we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, we go straight to Kenya, where it is not over until it is over. President William Ruto has suspended 4 election commissioners. We have details after the break. Join us again.